Given the frequency with which they happen, you might think that the demolition and construction industry would have a well-defined protocol over what to do in the event of an on-site accident, that they'd consult a well-thumbed playbook, follow a well-trodden and clearly defined path. You might think that having called an ambulance, the next step would be to inform the injured person's next of kin, to bring them up to speed and to offer support, comfort and solace. You might also think that even as the victim's next of kin are coming to terms with the accident and its possible outcome, that the requisite authorities were being informed ahead of an investigation designed to ensure that the accident is never repeated. You might think that the co-workers of the person injured would also be offered support, having just seen one of their friends and colleagues hurt, possibly in a very brutal fashion, that they would be given time to process what they'd just witnessed. And you might also think that the details of the accident, its cause and its outcome would be shared openly and transparently across the industry to ensure that no one else has to suffer a similar fate. You might think all of that, and you'd be right to do so. You are human after all. But as you've probably gathered by now, this is often not the case, any of it. In fact, there's often a huge disparity between what should happen after an accident and what actually does happen. Let's start with that playbook. Chances are there is a set of instructions on what to do in the event of an accident. It may be pinned to the wall of the site office, or it's been copied and pasted into the back of the method statement, all of which is great. But in the aftermath of a site accident, bureaucracy and agreed protocols often give way to panic. Even the most well-oiled crew can quickly resemble a group of chickens with their heads cut off when one of their number is being carted away in an ambulance. Paramedics often arrive to a scene of chaos and confusion. Some even arrive to find their way blocked or the site gates locked. Valuable seconds or even minutes are lost while they gain access. The victim is bundled into an ambulance heading for the nearest hospital, at which point everyone realises that he or she has taken their mobile phone with them. No one knows their home phone number, the name of their spouse or their partner, or how to get hold of them. And even when they are tracked down, further problems arise. The person making that call is pumped full of adrenaline and has probably never been given any specific training on how to deliver this kind of bad news. So rather than offering support and comfort, they're just delivering terrible and shocking news in the worst possible way. That's assuming they deliver the correct news at all. I've heard at least one instance in which a spouse received a call to say their husband had been injured when in truth they were already deceased. Then there's the well-defined yet seemingly optional matter of informing the relevant authorities, a process that can vary wildly depending on the severity of the accident. There's no way to hide a body bag, and it's quite hard to conceal a 50-ton excavator that's toppled off a pile and is now lying on its side with its tracks in the air. Accidents of that nature generally get reported in the appropriate manner. Lesser accidents, however, are often weighed up. Do we report the incident and see our health and safety track record take a potentially damaging hit? Or do we try to keep it under wraps? Hand the injured person a check in return for their silence and their agreement not to pursue matters further? In an industry in which a squeaky clean health and safety record can make the difference between winning and losing a contract, the temptation to keep accidents on the down low is enormous. And if keeping an accident from the authorities is tempting, then keeping it from rivals and the wider industry is almost compulsory. Any thought that the incident might be used as a positive learning opportunity is quickly set aside in fear of giving rival companies a competitive advantage. Co-workers are encouraged or coerced into keeping the accident off social media, out of the newspaper, and away from the eyes and ears of the wider industry. In fact, rather than giving priority to the support of the workers who've just seen a colleague injured, precedence is given to securing their silence. While there should be a playbook on what to do in the event of an accident, it sometimes feels like there's an alternative one on what not to do. And all too often, it's that playbook that gets referred to first. And that playbook makes no mention of protocol or of humanity. Any duty of care is skewed to the care for the employer rather than the injured employee and the colleagues that witnessed the accident. And all too often, The response is as primitive as it is cowardly. Hide the mess, hush the witnesses, and pray the silence lasts.